Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We know recession is around. Already some people saying that it is there. But then even if it's not there, it's likely to be there by the end of the year. And that's what the economists by and large are thinking. The problem is how to face it. How to prepare for the likely recession, and especially for the middle classes is extremely important. So it is important for the marginal class of the society because their livelihood, their living, everything depends on that. So how do you face it? While a recession is defined as 2 excessive quarters of negative GDP growth, which has already happened, it's essentially a period when the economic growth falls significantly and unemployment rises. Along with the rise in unemployment is inflation. If not real one, then stagflation. And given the lack of precise definition, there is not always a full agreement whether the economy is in recession or not. Now in Canada, for example, the government hasn't made any recent declaration of recession. But C.D. Howe Institute, a very dependable policy research organization, tracks recession activity very, very independently. And according to the Institute, the most recent recession has already started. It started in March 20 during the height of COVID-19 first wave and declared the recession over in 2021. And the current cost of living crisis is making many people wonder whether next recession is going to be. And the general consensus is that it's likely to happen either by the end of the year or in the beginning of 2023. And that is a consensus among all the economists. And reason is the current cost of living crisis in many countries, not only in Canada. And this expectation is largely because of the aggressive interest rates that the central banks around the world have increased to combat inflation. Now, inflation rates, there's a rate of growth in prices we pay for the goods and services, has risen to the level never seen in the last 40 years, 4 decades, and the new rate increase, the price increase, is unimaginable. 40 years record broken. So high inflation rates negatively impact purchasing power and it's more difficult for the people to buy everyday necessities, even groceries. So inflation has also a negative effect on economic efficiency, resulting in overall decreased growth. And when inflation happens, it's expensive to finance the purchase of large items. And any purchase requires financing becomes costly when the interest rates rise, real estate, car, name it. So, as a result of these increases, demand for many goods and services decreases and inflation goes still up. Now what happens in a recession? Businessmen are forced to reduce hiring, lay off workers, reduce working hours, and if a recession does it, tens of thousands of the people become unemployed or have reduced working hours. So these job losers will be concentrated in the service sector especially, particularly in a gig economy where income tends to be lower. If it's not a gig economy, if it's 100% manufacturing economy, and that too related to the essentials, it would not be a problem. But what happens in a gig economy is that the employment is precarious. And this means job losses for many more. So the question that faces people is how to prepare for it. And that's what we are going to talk today. With the recession seemingly imminent, people all over the world, whether it's Canada, whether it's India, whether it's USA, I shouldn't say India because India is the least likely to be impacted by the recession. It would be there, but not to the extent it's going to be there in USA, Canada, and Europe. So in anticipation of the recession, I'm going to provide you with the 6 steps that you can utilize and face the recession. The first is reduce spending, particularly on non-essential items immediately. Non-essential items. Because more you purchase, the more inflation is going to be. So take this opportunity to review your budget and reconsider daily purchasing habits and daily spending habits. And you would find that your daily spending habits, if you review them, you can at least save 30 to 40%. For example, rather than buying lunch every day outside, why don't you pack a lunch? Brown bags. Reconsider those subscriptions that automatically come out of your account each month. And it's a great time to rationalize and justify your spending habits. Consider each spending dispassionately, weigh the pros and cons, and then go ahead with it. And that also means reconsider your budget. If your budget, the first allocation should be for the necessities, and then comforts, luxuries, and then surplus show-off funds, not even luxuries. We purchase many times impulse buying. That's the worst thing. So avoid impulse buying. Second step is, the biggest problem is in this world, the credit card debts. We max out our credit cards, forgetting that the interest rates are anywhere between 20 to 25%. It is important to pay down high interest debt as much as possible, as soon as possible. And credit card debt is the highest interest debt. And yet, I've seen people max out not one card, not 2 cards, but 4, 5, 6 cards. And the result is they are bankrupt. Their whole monthly income is gone before they even receive it. And then consider the fact that over the coming months, interest rates will keep on rising. You receive a notification from your credit card company, printed, and then says, now the interest rate is 22.5% instead of 19.5%, 3% increase. And in a couple of months, another 1% increase. And you don't even read it. And then you are bamboozled when you receive the statement. So, lower the balance amount to the lower level of interest payment during any period of lost income. And then you will be able to navigate financially difficult periods. Third important thing that you have to consider is pay close attention to bill payments and avoid paying late charges. If you ever calculate in a year, you will see that a sizable amount goes to the payment of late charges. And these charges add up over time. Make a plan to ensure all bills are paid before the due date. And paying bills late results in monetary penalties, which you always want to avoid. But you want to avoid especially during a recession. So you have got to always to decide. And that Scottish proverb, a penny saved is penny gained, was never so pertinent never so pertinent as it is pertinent during the time of recession. And that money lost is money you could have utilized for the better purposes. In the event you can't make payment, try to stop making those purchases. Paying bills late results in monetary penalties, and if you don't avoid them, they are a drain on your budget. The fourth, be prepared for the eventuality of losing a job. That's going to happen to many people. If hundreds and thousands of people are going to lose jobs, who knows, you might be one of them. Have you made preparation for the rainy day? And if you have not, you know what happened to that animal who was dancing the whole day, and the ant told him, you danced in summer, now dance in the winter as well. So, how to be prepared for losing the job? Ensure your resumes and the cover letters are up to date and you are prepared for the job hunt. And in the event of a job loss, be ready to find another job at a moment's notice. Don't forget, a day's salary gone is gone forever. As I say, labor is the most perishable commodity in the world. You lose one day, and that one day salary is never going to come back. And in normal course of time, it may be acceptable, but not when you are facing recession. And at times, it's quite possible that you might not get an equivalent job or a better job. You might get, if you're lucky, but if you're not, get a job which pays you less, even immaterial. It's better to have something than to have nothing. And that something would sustain you, your family, and enable you to come out of the abyss of recession. And that abyss is such a dark pit that if you don't come out, you're lost. Result, depression, mental health, and so on. And not only that, your family is affected. Your dear and near ones are affected. Because they feel that they have become a burden on you. And when you see sympathy in the eyes of your dear and dear ones, it's a real backbreaking. So the fifth suggestion says you need a job immediately. Become more hireable. Develop those capabilities that people will hire you straight away. You know, recession typically hit those with less experience, typically hit those people who have lower skills. So you should keep job-related skills up to date. And not only the job skills that you are requiring for the jobs in hand, but also job skills, the new job skills, which might become in handy. Suppose you have a job skill which others don't have, and you go somewhere and with that job skill, the employer would be happy to have you. And I've seen it. It happens. You go with an exceptional capability, exceptional quality, and you'll be hired even if there's no need. I remember my own case. I had just done my master's. The completion results was yet to be out. So I thought, okay, let me apply for the lecture. The results had not appeared as yet. And the qualification naturally didn't been fulfilled because the results were not out. And they wanted 2 years experience. I went for the interview. Everybody told me you won't be hired, you don't have even the minimum qualification, what to say of experience. And not only was I hired before the declaration of my result, but given an advanced increment. Because they saw that I have the other skills, apart from that of teaching, that is the research, of guidance, and the extracurricular activities which could help develop the students further in speaking and debating and things like that. So explore the virtual options. Those virtual options would provide excellent opportunities for upgrading. are in-person offering to the country. And it happens across the country. Further your education. And keep on doing it. Hone up your skills, develop new skills. And once you become hireable, the sixth and the last step. Most recession-proof jobs depend on skill level. So what you should do is move to the recession-proof job. And these tend to be in government sector, healthcare, and within education. Healthcare is one thing, food is another, where the skills are important, but the job opportunities would never be reduced. A person's child is sick, he'll go to the medical facility. So you can be paramedical. Of course, these jobs are not for everyone. So you have to consider the options that are use capable or conducive to your skills and your preference. The strategy is more successful when skills and resumes are updated. Now, what that means is that you plan for the worst and are prepared for the best. Hope for the best. Some of these strategies are easier to pursue. I agree. But perhaps a bigger lesson of all is to be prepared for the worst. Recession, economic downturns are cyclical. They are part of the economic world. Goes up, comes down. So it's a cycle. And that describes the ups and downs of the economy. Recession typically occur every decade, and sometimes more often. So what you should do is well prepared for such downturns. And it's much easier, the strategy about well in advance of a recession, instead of waiting until the last moment. Something you can start right now. And the closer to the recession someone wants to pursue these strategies, the more difficult it's going to be. I agree. Even if you plan ahead, recession is terrifying to live through. But then the good news, this also would change. Recessions don't last forever. The only thing is plan for the worst, hope for the best. And that's what you should do. That way lies satisfaction, happiness, and your sanity. Thank you.